That's Jason Aldean. Yeah. Yep. Yay. No. No. Ivanka? I want to see the boy. I want to see. I love Baron. The man of the hour, girl. The hour.
Just barely, though. Listen, we're in the area of the arena where the former president, just walked in over my left-hand shoulder there. And I tell you what, Laura, he could draw a crowd. It is something else. AC/DC, Back in Black. Pretty good walk-on song, I think. These gentlemen look like Oklahoma Sooners, like the offensive line for the University of Oklahoma delegates from that state. What do you want to hear tonight?
Well, I want to hear what we're going to do in the future that preclude us coming home and
yeah.
to a country that's totally different. I want to come home to a country that's safe.
That's so cool.
Woke. I want to know that what I went and fought for when I come back is exactly what I expected it to be.
Jason could at least put on a
also,
jacket.
We are in
or
Oklahoma,
a suit.
in Logan County. We're the only county that's ever had our precincts completely represented. And the importance of that is that we make sure that when we swamp the election, the votes so they can't cheat. We want that we want to quit going 2, 4, 6-year terms of working on things to 20, 30 years for our grandkids.
Okay, so you're ready for that.
Yes, sir.
How about yourself, Sooner?
I'm ready for unity and opportunities for everybody. I'm married to a Democrat, so I know we can get along if we work hard all across the aisle, everywhere.
I just figure you guys are big enough to get a better seat, and I found you in the back row here. How'd that happen?
We wanted the back seat.
It's easier to stand up on the edges than stretch your legs, so
Well, you got a great view of the former president. Enjoy the night, okay, gentlemen? Steve Whitcomb coming up there on the stage, Laura, back upstairs.
All right, Bill, thanks so much. Joining me now, Sean Duffy, Fox News contributor, co-host of The Bottom Line on Fox Business, as well as Pete Hegseth, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend. Sean, it's hard to describe this moment for those of us who've been fighting in the trenches of politics for decades.
I wish Miss Renee was there.
What are you expecting?
To see this response, this unity is remarkable. We've heard that a lot during the convention. What I think is interesting, I was outside earlier today, and the message of
I wonder
those
if
two men,
Bailey
Bill Hemmer,
would golf with
the
Trump.
message of we can unify the country. They could be angry after the prosecution, after the assassination attempt. These convention goers could be pissed off. They're not, actually. They're like,
he's got a baby on his ear.
And make it great again. And I think that's a fascinating mentality.
That's the first I've ever seen of that.
And Pete, Republicans sometimes rely on numbers and they talk at people instead of share stories with people. And storytelling is an American art. If done well, it's really persuasive. I find that's the change in this convention. There have been a lot of stories told about the country and about personal journeys of people.
Almost completely stories, and that's what people respond to the most.
Yeah, CNN posted a video of him sitting there with his eyes closed. They were praying. He was being respectful.
Donald Trump has put on a show here that's real. And his premise on common sense. It's not ideological. It's not about tax brackets. The establishment is completely out and in are reflections of real people in America who are affected by terrible policies and how Trump will change.
You know, the firefighters turnout gear who was shot and killed at the Trump rally, that gear is going to be on stage before Donald Trump comes out. It's telling stories, to your point, that touch the hearts of the American people. And you're right, Democrats have done a way better job of that. But I can tell you, this has been impressive. And the first time I think Republicans may outshine and outplay Democrats.
Yeah, because they have a
I had to step up. I had to be a real American, just like all these real Americans here. Donald Trump. I have a voice too, and I want people to know it's time to talk. It's time not to be silent anymore.
Who has better hair?
Also, UFC founder Dana White, Kid Rock, and Tucker Carlson. As an appetizer, here's 45 earlier at a private event.
Was that Melania?
With death.
I couldn't tell.
This has been our best campaign, and then I got shot. How does that happen? Well, you say, how did that happen? But I got lucky. God was with me.
Amen, brother.
That's what they call a close call. That was an amazing, horrible thing, amazing thing, and in many ways it changes your attitude, your viewpoint toward life. And I think, honestly, I think you appreciate God even more. I really do, because something happened that. Not that it was pleasant. It wasn't like it was a complete miss.
Today.
But it was pretty terrible that can happen.
All week, the former president has had a humble air about
it today or
as
Sunday?
he watched his party unite in Milwaukee and across the country. Our producers put together a highlight reel for you.
I want you on the highlight reel, Jesse.
Hello, Milwaukee! This convention will come to an end. We hereby nominate the greatest president that's ever lived, and that's Donald J. Trump. He's done it before, and he'll do it again.
He is fearless and is exactly
I want that hat, Mama. That
needs
face.
Right now.
When we play golf together, if I'm
Look
not
at
on
her.
his team, he'll try to get inside of my head. But
okay.
I have to remind him, I'm a Trump too.
It's okay.
It's common sense versus chaos. It's strength versus weakness.
Biden may have forgotten that our children died, but we have not forgotten.
Donald Trump knew all of our children's names. We have another son serving in the Army, and we do not trust Joe Biden with his life.
Joe must go.
I think Joe's going, but right now, we want him to stay about 4 more months.
Afford 4 more years.
Joe and the hoe gotta go.
He's gonna leave shortly. Come on, let's take
All
over.
Americans deserve a shot at the American dream.
She will be
I
the
never felt
47.
more free and more love for my country than I do now.
I went to prison, so you won't.
She will not get an extra 4 years.
No.
She won't
She'll
go.
get 8 years.
No, but she won't go.
No,
She go to April till January
the
20th.
election will be over with in November.
Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what
I like
it means
Vivek.
to be
She
an
only
American.
served out his time. But then she could run again
Trump back in
as an incumbent president.
I would go back
For 8 years now.
today.
She wouldn't win.
Do you believe in miracles before Saturday?
Yes.
You better be believing right now.
I love him.
Looked out at the crowd, and what did he say?
Fight, fight, fight. That's what they said in school. Fight, fight, fight. Look at that man right there. Okay, baby. You just want to rest? I do too.
Trump's a grandfather, but this isn't your grandfather's Republican Party. It's a populist movement that cuts across class and racial lines, speeding like a comet straight at the ruling class. It's now clear why Trump tapped J.D. Vance as VP. He's a storyteller, and his story is the American dream. From where he came from to where he is today would not have been possible if he didn't have people fighting for him and protecting him.
Ow.
Never in my wildest imagination could I have believed that I'd be standing here tonight. Now, I was lucky.
Blessed.
Despite the closing factories and the growing addiction in towns like mine, in my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. She was an old woman who could barely walk, but she was tough as nails.
She had like 1,000
I called her
guns.
Mamaw, the name we hillbillies gave to our grandmothers. She once told me, when she found out that I was spending too much time with a local kid who was known for dealing drugs, that if I ever hung out with that kid again, she would run him over with her car. But she said, JD, no one will ever find out about it. Our movement is about single moms like mine, who struggled with money and addiction, but never gave up.
His
I'm
grandma.
proud to say that tonight my mom is here. 10 years, clean and sober. I love you, Mom.
Aww.
Do this. I will be a vice president who
Yeah.
never forgets where he came from. And every single day for the next 4 years, when I walk into that White House to help President Trump, I will
Jason
be
could
doing
have put on a
it for
jacket
you,
though. My
for
gosh.
your family, for your future, and for this great country. Thank you. God bless all of you, and God bless our great country.
And God bless our troops, so said Joe Biden.
Jesse Waters Primetime will have their first joint interview with Donald Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, on Monday. It'll also be the first on-camera interview with Donald Trump since escaping assassination. After dodging a bullet, Trump ripped up his speech and rewrote it. And we're hearing tonight, Joe Biden will not be mentioned by name.
Good.
This could be because the former president wants to tone down the rhetoric, or because Trump doesn't even know if Biden will be his opponent.
That
lay out his agenda and make an appeal for American unity in the face of hatred. His appearance tonight will likely symbolize the great American comeback, a comeback from when this country was great, a political comeback after the 2020 election, and a personal comeback from Saturday's assassination attempt. From hoaxes to impeachments, from indictments to bullets, Trump's back in the arena, in the most politically secure position he's ever been. The wind at his back and an angel on his shoulder. A new CBS poll shows President Donald Trump extending his lead over Joe Biden by over 5 points nationally and trouncing him across the board in the battleground states.
Why aren't we a battleground?
On the other side of the aisle, things couldn't be any worse. As the Republican Party nominates their man this week, the Democrats are plotting to rip their man's nomination away. The Biden coup is closing in. One family friend puts it this way, quote, his choice is to be one of history's heroes or to be sure of the fact that there will never be a Biden presidential library. This morning, Biden woke up in COVID isolation and watched Morning Joe pull the plug.
It's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point.
Damn.
And help the president and help the man they love and do the right thing.
Wow.
This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out. The anger I hear are the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
With their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race.
The Washington Post reports that Obama's telling allies that Biden's time's up.
Oh my gosh.
And that the three horsemen of the Biden apocalypse, Pelosi, Schumer, and Hakeem, have told Joe he's got to go.
Joe and the hoe got to go.
Top Democrats think Biden could drop out of the race as soon as this weekend. Journalist Mark Halperin says historian John Meacham has been polishing up Biden's farewell. And if he steps down, he's not resigning the presidency. He'll stick out the term. But he will not endorse Kamala. The plan is to have an open convention where Kamala, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, and a few others will compete for delegates like American Idol.
Did you know that?
And what would be the first open convention since 1968.
Wow.
Not coronating Kamala will trigger an identity politics civil war and fracture the party along race and gender.
Good.
Chicago, a city plagued by violence, is the perfect venue for this type of political fight. But this isn't guaranteed. We're told Biden's now soul searching.
For what soul?
Who told us he was fighting for the soul of the nation.
He ain't got one.
But how do you fight for the soul of the nation if you can't even find yours? Tonight's RNC theme is strength. And for a while in America, strength was considered toxic, taboo, uncivilized. And what did that leave us with? A middle class preyed upon by foreign interests, criminals out on bail, Chinese spy balloons floating across the sky unpopped, and an administration too afraid to fire failures. That's not what America is, and that's not what America has ever been. And tonight we'll hear President Trump's vision for what America will be
video
in the next
Brian
4
in the
years.
bathroom.
Let's bring in former White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany and Outkick.com founder Clay Travis. So just moments ago, the former president walked in, sat next to Jason Aldean and his beautiful wife.
Brittany.
You can feel this momentum building. This is bringing in the closer tonight.
Bringing in the closer. I was listening to another network, and they questioned his ability to speak in terms of unity. And I thought to myself, you don't know.
Can't make this up, man.
This has the feel of a big game right
before
kickoff, an arena right before a game 7. There's an electricity in the building, and I think Trump is going to meet that, and I think he is going to propel Joe Biden out of this race and Trump into at least the biggest win. Everybody needs to go vote. Don't blame me. Go vote yourselves. That we've seen since 2008. A shattering of the Democrat identity politics coalition. It's coming, and this guy's going to do it.
And JD, as you said, his speech very, very eloquent last night. His personal story. What does he call his grandmother? Is it
Mama?
Meemaw.
Meemaw. And as a protector of
his
him,
Meemaw.
as a fighter, she was a vicious fighter, and she did it because of love. So that's probably how you'd square the fight and the strength, because as a president, as a family man or a woman, you fight and you protect the people who you love. And that's probably going to be the thrust, I think, the president takes from JD into Thursday.
I think that's exactly right. And look, he's not going to mention Joe Biden, but he referred to Joe Biden by another name in his 2020 RNC speech.
Brandon.
The destroyer of the American dream. Will he vaguely reference him? He had a great line back in 2020, and he said, "We are the party of Abraham Lincoln, and we welcome you, Democrats and independents, and all those who believe in the greatness of this country." That is the tone you will hear. He's going to knock it out of the park.
All right. Can't wait. Just in a few minutes, we'll see it.
I can't wait.
I can feel it. All right, Clay, thank you very much. Kaylee, thanks as well. Fox News Alert. We're getting more details about the would-be Trump assassin, Thomas Crooks. Secret Service sources say that Crooks didn't arrive at the rally with a gun. He cased the venue earlier and stashed the gun in advance. The Secret Service missed it during their security sweep, if they even did one at all. A Trump rally volunteer who's attended dozens of rallies tells Fox he warned organizers about security
but not like right behind it.
the night before the shooting. Watch this.
We did a walkthrough at 7 p.m. on Friday night, and we raised multiple concerns with the state GOP staff about parking, about security issues we saw, where there were lack of barricades at, and all of our safety concerns that we brought up on Friday evening were strictly turned down, and there was no answers given to any of our questions or concerns about security in that matter. You know, we always saw the change in place the day of the rally, and this was the first one that I saw no changes made from Friday night to Saturday morning when we got there at 7:30.
We also confirmed that an FBI investigator hosed off the rooftop where the assassin fired from. Sources tell Fox it's not standard operating procedure for the FBI to handle cleanup at crime scenes. The FBI preserves crime scenes. And when the investigation moves into a different phase, private contractors are hired to clean up. Nothing about Saturday's incident makes any sense. First, Crooks had a van that police towed away.
Inside job.
Yeah. Then he had a Hyundai Sonata at the scene. And now we hear he rode a bike to the rally. A bike, a car, a van.
But we just
Which
have
one
more
is it? His house
technology.
is an hour away. This doesn't add up.
There's no magic bullet.
The New York Times
There's a magic
reported
ear.
that 5 days before the rally, Secret Service designated the building the shots were fired from as an observation post to watch the crowd, but decided not to watch the building itself, creating a massive blind spot within rifle range, just outside the perimeter, a perimeter they set. And that's not all. A whistleblower is saying the Secret Service and FBI held a conference call days before the rally. Dr. Jill had an event in Pittsburgh the same day as the rally. Kamala had an event in Philly same day as the rally. And the Secret Service was stretched thin because of the NATO summit in Washington. On this call, the point was made that resources were limited for the Trump rally. And the Secret Service didn't look like they did anything. And if you believe the leak that there was an Iranian threat against Trump's life last weekend, this was a massive security failure. Absolutely massive. Because they knew ahead of time that they were unprepared. Meanwhile, Director Kim Cheadle personally met with Trump at the RNC this week. And I'll be asking the president about that meeting when I interview him this weekend. And a group of Republican senators caught up with Cheadle here at the convention. And Cheadle did not conduct herself professionally, but right now we're going to go to Alina Habba.
Great privilege of representing President Donald J. Trump. Now I know you're all used to hearing me shouting outside a courthouse. But tonight, I want to take you behind the law and behind the headlines and share with you a side of President Trump that reveals his character,
Okay, you're fine.
his kindness, and his commitment to saving this great country. As a devout Catholic, a proud first-generation Arab American woman,
now that's DEI for you,
and a feisty Jersey girl who is fed up with far-left corruption in Washington. President Trump championed my journey, empowering me to be who I became today. His unwavering support not only shaped my career, but has inspired other young women with big dreams. President Trump loves this country. He does. And he lifts up those around him. To my children, Luke, Chloe,
Leia,
and Parker. He's the man with one heck of a golf swing that lets them ride in a golf cart with some of the world's most famous golfers so they feel included in mom's job.
wow.
And by the way, he can kick some of those guys' butts. Ken.
Biden can't.
To my husband, whose family members have survived the Holocaust.
Yes.
He is a champion of the Jewish faith. To my Iraqi parents, he is a mentor to their daughter. But to me, he is my friend.
Aww.
Not too long ago, a supporter shouted, "God bless you and President Trump," in the middle of Manhattan after one of our trials. Little did that man know that I was on the phone with the president himself. And he immediately asked me to pause, give the man my phone, and spent time speaking to him and thanking him for his support.
Wow.
Despite the lawfare and the politics, President Trump loves the American people and he loves this country. For decades, the Trump organization transformed skylines and created thousands of jobs. His buildings and businesses are a testament to his commitment to excellence and his drive to turn dreams into reality. But his greatest construction project was yet to come. The left has tried to demolish President Trump, but there is no bulldozer big enough or strong enough to remove the legacy that he has built or the future he is creating. As the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump built a legacy of putting America first. And as the 47th President, he will build America stronger than ever for we, the people.
Amen.
As we stand on the brink of a new chapter in America's story, I am reminded of the country my family fled 4 decades ago.
Wow.
A place marked by religious persecution, oppression, and a lack of freedom. They came here because America is a beacon of liberty and opportunity. It is now our duty to protect the values that define us and keep this the greatest nation on earth. Amen. That's right.
USA.
Every attack on President Trump only strengthens our movement. The left's madness is only a sign of desperation. Sham indictments and baseless allegations will not deter us. Because the only crime President Trump has committed is loving America. And America, we are winning. Outside of his family and our country, President Trump also has another love.
Golf.
Music.
Oh.
A few years ago, he wanted me to hear a new song he had selected for an upcoming rally. I could hear it blaring in the background at Mar-a-Lago. He landed on a song called Hold On, I'm Coming.
It's on White Collar, the first episode.
America, we no longer have to hold on.
He's here.
We just have to show up.
Amen.
So if you're ready to end the Democrat destruction, and if you're eager to unleash the best America has to offer, then let's send Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to the White House in November.
I don't think there's ever been a Marine vice pres. I've looked. Yes, he was.
The future of America
Vice.
and the world is bright, and it begins with the unwavering spirit of each and every one of us. Because of the resilience and the leadership of my friend, President Donald J. Trump. So let us not forget that President Trump did not just take a bullet in Butler, Pennsylvania. He has and will continue to take them for each and every one of us.
Figuratively, guys.
God bless President Trump. God bless you all. And God bless the United States of America.
Trump attorney Alina Habba sharing some personal insights about former president as a father, as a boss, as a friend, even getting a little emotional there, tearing up. As we were saying, the Secret Service Director Kim Cheadle was here at the RNC yesterday, actually met with Trump, and then was confronted by a group of Republican senators. Watch this.
Well, they just
Yes, you do. She You made a mistake going there, buddy.
You owe answers.
Running away from Republicans demanding answers about an assassination attempt that your inactions made possible makes Americans not trust you. So far, there have been 0 on-camera briefings from the FBI, Secret Service, Homeland Security, and the DOJ. It smells like a cover-up. Congressman Mike Waltz and Steve Scalise.
He was allowed to get on that roof and they saw him.
Scalise, you guys have the power of the purse. If Cheadle doesn't resign, you can defund her salary.
Yes, you can, buddy.
Well, there's a lot more that we're looking into as well. Starting Monday, we're having hearings. The Oversight Committee, Chairman Comer is going to be having a hearing with the Secret Service. Whether she shows up or not, we're having that hearing to demand answers. There's other committees like Homeland Security, Chairman Green's digging into these same things. She is now one of the new faces, unfortunately not the only one, of the failures of the Biden administration. There are too many. The incompetence. She's so concerned about DEI and root causes that she has failed in her primary.
Hire outside people to investigate.
The president and former presidents of the United States. She needs to go. Whether she'll resign or not, she works for us, the taxpayers.
Yes, she does.
At the request of the president of the United States.
Withhold her pay.
Resignation and fire her on the spot. Well, they're going to fire Joe Biden. He might actually go out before Cheadle. We'll find out. But you should strip her salary away. Make her dip into her savings to go grocery shopping. It's totally unacceptable what she's done.
Let her last till
so if you guys hold hearings, because there must be some sort of select committee on the attempted assassination of President Trump, you should hold it somewhere else besides Washington, D.C., because if some of these people...
My house is open, guys.
There's not going to be anybody in D.C. that's going to say, oh, yeah, we'll indict him for perjury. You got to do it outside of the swamp. You should try that. Well, believe me, the statute of limitations will not expire by the time Donald Trump is president of the United States. They're going to have to deal with that. That's right.
Yeah, no, great point. The other thing is, I mean, I just talked to one of the agents a few hours ago. I talked to some Sunday. The agents are pissed. They're frustrated. They've repeatedly asked for resources. Donald Trump isn't your normal, average former president. He's not Jimmy Carter sitting in the old folks' home. And, oh, by the way, some other things are coming out, like the shooter had 3 encrypted accounts overseas. At the same time, we're having an Iranian plot. So, I mean, I think this is going to go much broader, much deeper, but the agents are going to hold her to account. Their lives on the line, and she was not giving the resources they were requesting. But one other thing, Jesse, that Pittsburgh field office was the one responsible for the advance.
And he failed.
Clearly not done appropriately.
They saw him on there.
Dr. Jill.
And the Pittsburgh field office was also responsible for covering up that bribery Ukraine tip that came in as well. Are you saying that you're getting information?
Yes.
That says there's encrypted communications between crooks and foreign sources?
Now, what we know, and this was on the briefing we just received, he had 3 encrypted overseas accounts the FBI is trying to get into.
What do you mean by overseas accounts?
Well, we know that they were based in servers overseas, and so you've got to work over there with the FBI liaisons overseas to start getting into them through their authorities.
Do you believe this attempt on the former president's life has some sort of foreign nexus?
Well, we know the Iranians have been trying for years, not only him, but everybody, Pompeo and others, involved in the Soleimani strike. And we also know, it's finally come out, many of us have been fighting this for years, that they pulled National Security Advisor O'Brien's detail completely away. He's had to...
She was told to keep everything loose. We're gonna get him. But Trump.
The Secret Service hoe.
Another choice that you have.
They learned
President
the
Trump. He'll make
mistakes they made with John.
Again.
They weren't going to do that again. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome journalist, author, and American citizen, Tucker Carlson.
It's okay.
Oh, this is wild. Thank you. I've been to see you. Thank you. I feel like I know about half the people in the room. This is wild. What are you doing? Justin Wells. Thank you guys.
See, we love Tuck, Chrissy.
Can I just say, Peter Navarro is back. Welcome to Peter Navarro. Suffering the fate that has happened to so many who are friends with Donald Trump. Thank you for having me. I have
He's giddy.
I've been to many conventions. I've never been to a more fun convention or a convention with better vibes.
It's okay.
They literally let Navarro out of prison. First of all, thank you. This feels a lot different from what I thought it was going to feel like. I can't hear you, but I know it's something good. So, I watched the video of what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania about 50 times. I think I was one of about 8 billion people around the world who watched it. And the more I watched it, the more it struck me that everything was different after that moment. Everything. This convention is different. The nation is different. The world is different. Donald Trump is different. When he stood up after being shot in the face, bloodied, and put his hand up, I thought at that moment, that was a transformation. This was no longer a man. Well, I think that. I think it was divine intervention. But the effect that it had on Donald Trump, he was no longer just a political party's nominee, or a former president, or a future president. This was the leader of a nation. And I think there's a difference. I've spent most of my life in Washington where the president is at the top of the pyramid, never wants to be the president. But if you think about it, the presidency comes with great power, obviously. But if you think about it, that is a title that is bestowed by a process of some sort that can be subverted. And in the end, it does not confer by itself, as no title does, legitimacy. Just because you call yourself the president doesn't mean that much inherently. I can call my dog the CEO of Hewlett Packard. It doesn't mean she is. No, it's true. And you hate to say it, but it is also true, as a fact, that you could take, I don't know, a mannequin, a dead person, and make him president. No, you could. I'm just saying theoretically possible. With enough cheating, that could happen. But being a leader is very different. It's not a title. It's organic. You can't name someone a leader. A leader is the bravest man. That's who the leader is. That is true in all human organizations. This is a law of nature. And in that moment, Donald Trump, months before the presidential election, became the leader of this nation. That was the most obvious to me. And I have to say, I think it changed him. I reached out to Trump within hours of it that night. And what he said to me that night, having just been shot in the face, he said not a single word about himself. He said only how amazed he was and how proud he was of the crowd, which didn't run. And I thought two things.
They were
calm. The first thing I thought was, well, of course they didn't run. His courage gave them heart. A leader's courage gives courage to his people. And the second thing I thought
Was this is the selfish guy I've been hearing about for 9 years? Really? Not a word about himself? About the thing I noticed, which I don't think anyone has remarked upon in public, but I'm just going to since I don't have a script, like why not? Is that he turned down the most obvious opportunity in politics to inflame the nation after being shot. To inflame the nation, which is an opportunity that almost every other politician I've ever met, and certainly his opponents, would have taken instantly. And they would have said, well, what is this? How did he get shot? Like, how did this happen? And those are real questions that we have to get to the bottom of. But in the moments, the days, the week after the shooting, he did not say that. He did his best to bring the country together, and I thought, this is the divisive figure, this is the irresponsible person. No. This is the most responsible, unifying behavior of a leader I think I've ever seen. So the question is, where is he leading us? And I could go on for hours, but let me just sum it up. I do think the entire point from the famous escalator ride 9 years ago until today of Donald Trump's public life has been to remind us of one fact, which is a leader's duty is to his people, to his country, and to no other. That's the point. That's the only point. And another word for this is democracy. Democracy, in case you're a little sick of being beaten in the face with democracy on television, actual democracy is the proposition that the citizens of a country own that country. They're not renters, they're not serfs, they're not slaves, they are the owners of the country.
Amen.
And for that to be true, their leaders have to represent them, which is another way of saying they have to do what the people want them to do, or a close approximation thereof. But if they completely ignore what people want, not just 1 year, but generationally, say for 50 years, then it may be, I don't know what, it's not a democracy. And so I think the entire Trump project, paradoxically, is attacked as an enemy of democracy, is to return democracy to the United States. Hey, let's pay attention to what people actually want. And the lack of interest in that question in Washington is something that ultimately drove me out of the city after 35 years.
Dang.
Lawmakers stepping over the prostrate bodies of their fellow citizens ODing on drugs to go cast votes to send money to some foreign country.
It's crazy.
Yeah, actually, we've lost more Americans from drugs in the past 4 years than we lost in World War II. Yeah. Our bloodiest war. More than we lost in World War II. Does anybody care?
I do.
It is pathetic. It is pathetic. And do you hear a single word from Washington about doing anything about it? We know where the drugs are coming from. We know the supply routes. The U.S. military spent billions bombing the Ho Chi Minh Trail. You don't see our commander-in-chief suggesting that we use our military to protect our country or the lives of its citizens. No. That's for Ukraine. And it's too much, actually. It's too insulting. It's too insulting. It's a middle finger in the face of every American. It's a very clear statement, which is unmistakable. And that is, we don't care about you. And Donald Trump, whatever you say about him, and I think he's a wonderful person. I know him well. By the way, the funniest person I've ever met in my life, actually. You can't be funny without perspective. Or without empathy, which is true. But everything else about Trump aside, he actually cares. Because he's interested in the people who live here, because that's his job. A father's job, his duty is to his family. An officer's duty is to his men. A president's duty is to his citizens. And he seems to be the only one who thinks that. And in his choice for vice president, J.D. Vance, he's made that really clear.
He's got a Marine.
J.D. Vance, I'll say this about him, is a thoroughly decent man, and I'll just admit it, a friend of mine, one of the very few politicians in Washington who actually is very close to his own wife, which is wonderful to see. and she's wonderful, actually. But J.D. Vance has views that are closer to Trump's voters than anyone else in Washington in office. Therefore, he's the vice president. That's called democracy. So I will stop on just one point, and that is what's happened over the past month since the debate.
Oh, that debate was tragic.
And particularly on Saturday in Butler, I think a lot of people are wondering, what is this? It's nothing like politics. Something bigger is going on here. I think even people who don't believe in God are beginning to think, well, maybe there's something to this. Actually. And I'm starting to think it's going to be okay, actually. I do think that. The day after the midterm elections in 2018, Antifa came to my house.
Do what?
The Democratic Party's militia, okay? I was at work. It was obvious when I was at work because it was public. My wife was home alone. They tried to come in through the front door. They terrorized her. She hid in our pantry. It was on television. It was horrible, actually. It was, I mean, I'm not whining about it. I wasn't getting shot in the face, but it wrecked our day. And the next morning, we're lying in bed, and the phone rings for my wife, and it's Donald Trump, who's not like a regular text buddy of Donald Trump's. She picks it up, hello? Susie, it's Donald Trump. And it's coming through, I can hear it. And I'm lying in bed, whoa. And the first thing he says is, I'm gonna stand guard outside your house. And she goes, oh,
he's gonna stand guard outside our house.
And he says, I'll never forget this as long as I live. He says, you know, there's a lot of hate out there. And she said, you know, there is, Mr. President. And then he says, but there's a lot of love. There's a lot of love. And we are seeing that love. I don't think it's human love. And I'll just stop with this. I'm not always convinced that I'm on the right side. I've been on the wrong side many times. You'll never hear me say, I'm on God's side, or God's with me, or even I'm with God. I want to be, not sure I am. But I will say this unequivocally and conclusively. God is among us right now. And I think that's enough. God bless you.